up, good agents? It's Tristan and Nick. It's almost night, and tonight we've got Chelsea with us.
Hey.
That's tomorrow night. Chelsea, what's up? Tell us a little bit about you for those that are going to be watching who don't know who you are, where you work, and why you're so cool on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat.
Thank you so much for having me, first of all. Really excited to be here. My history with real estate is a long one. I've been in the industry for 20 years, and I was an agent I was licensed for 18. I just let my license go last year, but I actually wasn't active as an agent for a while. I did 10 years. I started in new home sales, went to residential resale. Then I live in Arizona, so we got hit really hard in 2008. And it was pretty devastating to this area as well as a few other ones. And so I ended up leaving the business of actually selling homes and helping buyers. And I went into sort of the other side. I went on the title and escrow side, and I was the director of marketing for a number of years for Fidelity National Title. And now I serve as their national director of social sales for all of our brands across the United States.
And what brands are those? So we're looking at Fidelity,
I don't want to forget any. Okay, so it's Fidelity, Chicago, Heritage, Ticor, Lawyers, Security. Oh, I think there's like a few more in there, and I don't want to mess it up. So I'm sorry if I left anyone out, but you know, a lot of them.
That's like the majority of all the title companies.
Yes, that is correct.
That is the best. All right, and today we're going to be talking specifically about Instagram because you do such a great job. The first time I watched you talk about Instagram was at a Commissions Inc. event that you did, and you did such a great job with so much information. So let's get to it. Let's get started.
I'm really excited to talk about Instagram, and I will be the first to let you know that I was not an Instagram fan a few years ago. I did not like it. I didn't understand it. I couldn't figure out like the interface with it. It just wasn't for me. It was not my jam at all. So for those of you who are watching, who are like, I love Facebook. Facebook is my jam. Like, that is what I'm into. I'm not really into Instagram. Been there, done that. And now I love it because I really have gotten to understand it a little bit more. So I want to talk about the why behind Instagram and why it's so important and why people are using it a lot. Before you go on, are you guys hearing any feedback? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, is there feedback? Yeah, is there feedback?
Let me log in and out. Hold on.
Sorry about that. I just want to be sure.
Oh, maybe that was somebody's computer that was on.
Okay, hopefully it's working now.
Oh,
I don't hear any feedback. Let us know.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, chat if you hear any feedback. So, so the reason that I'm really passionate about not just Instagram, but like just storytelling in general, and I'm going to kind of lump in Facebook stories and Instagram stories. I got started in storytelling and video and camera first branding on Snapchat. And that was my jam. I loved it. It was like an amazing community. Then when they made a major change that shifted in their platform, we just did not love it. And a lot of people left and went to Instagram stories. Instagram stories just ripped off Snapchat. They've admitted it, not saying anything offensive. And what it gave to me was an ability to really understand what was happening with social media, that it was absolutely evolving, and the way in which we communicate with one another and also form communities is completely different because we now talk in pictures. We now use our own personal media, our photographs, our images, our videos to actually communicate with the world. And because of that, industry has now become irrelevant. Nobody cares if it's because we're in real estate or a mortgage or whatever it is. We now have behavioral training around this concept that I expect you to have your own television show, meaning when I open up any social media platform, you should be on it. And not only should you be on there, but you should be showing up in a certain way. And even somebody who is in social media and myself, like if somebody connects with me sometimes on Instagram, the first thing I look at is their profile. And I see, do they have an active story? Do they have an actual complete profile? And those are the weird things that I immediately judge to determine if I'm going to follow someone back. It's the same story. I mean, this is nothing new that you guys don't talk about all the time. So for me, there's two main teams of people on Instagram right now. There's team feed and there's team stories. And for me, I am team stories all day long. I love me a story. I use it all the time. I find that it's an incredible brand building tool, social selling tool, the relationship building. It accelerates the trust between you and the person who's watching and communicating. But I've also grown to really sort of, try to understand the feed. And people ask me all the time, does that mean I should just abandon the feed? No, it doesn't, because it's still there. Do I believe that social media will primarily be stories? I do. And the reason that I believe that is because Facebook themselves, who we know, makes a lot of money. They're a for-profit company. They've announced as of October of last year, so a few months ago, they're going all in on stories. Now, for those of you who are listening, and you may have tried Facebook stories, they're not like amazing. I don't love them because there's not a lot of engagement there yet, because it's just so foreign to our world of Facebook. It just wasn't as foreign in the world of Instagram. But what I will tell you guys from a branding perspective, if you start doing Facebook stories now, it's unsaturated. You have an actual opportunity to be at the top of every one of your friends' feeds for free and have your face there. And so they're going all in on stories, and guess what? They don't know how to do ads effectively in stories yet. So for a for-profit company to say, we are redesigning our entire business model to go all in on stories, and by the way, the reason they're doing it is because of the psychology of the platform. People love it because you're watching someone's face. Your brain can't tell the face on a screen versus in real life. You feel like you have a relationship. You automatically like that person, and people are talking privately, not having a comment thing in a public forum. So that's why they're going all in on it. So when I heard that they were going to actually lose money, I was like, oh, this is it. They are going all in stories. Let me get the popcorn. Let's go, because we are going to become storytellers. So I want to give you some tips on stories and how to up your engagement, on how to create content, because that's the number one question I get is, great, got it, got to do the stories, but what the heck do I say? So I want to talk a little bit about the content piece, because this is going to go through the feed too. And then I'd like to talk about really like hashtag strategy, and I will share my screen. We'll go into my phone. I'll show you how we do it and all of that. Go ahead. Yeah.
So you are right on, Chelsea. One thing that we did notice over the last couple months is that Facebook added to the stories part, if you're on your business page, the ability to boost your stories. And that's already showing us that they're already thinking exactly what you said. How do we monetize this? Why don't we test this out with what we already know and see if that works? I'm anticipating there are going to be a few changes to that, because boosting can only get them so far with stories, but let's see how it goes. I love stories. It's just the consistency that's tough, I think, with it, right?
We're also seeing like, Tristan, what did Tony and Travis say at our event recently? That Instagram stories has greater engagement than, wasn't the Facebook newsfeed? Maybe it was the actual.
No. So yeah, what they said was, so there's more content being created in stories and more conversations happening in stories than any of the feeds. So people are making more content in the stories than they ever did in the feeds. And so it's going to actually it has eclipsed the feed already, which is also another indicator.
You're also seeing, and we didn't even get into Instagram TV yet, but what I'm seeing in my feed for Instagram is you're seeing 1 minute clips, and then you're seeing a call to action to continue watching in Instagram TV. Yeah. And so I think they're also gonna start incorporating stories within your news feed on Instagram. And I also think with Facebook too. And I'll be honest with you, I'm struggling with it because I don't know sometimes what to say every single day in my Instagram story. So I assume you're gonna give us some tips, right?
Yeah. I am going to talk about content, and just what you mentioned, Nick, about, you're going to start seeing stories like in the feed, right? What's interesting is when you guys go look at Instagram tonight, when you look on any page, like you could look at your notifications page, your messages page, your main feed, doesn't matter, except for the explore page, but like searching and all that, you can watch someone's story from every single page. They want everyone watching stories. So I think that's really interesting. Like we just think of like, oh, here's the story feed. And like maybe like in the main feed, you can like see the little like lit up circles around people's bios, but it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So you see that going through. All right, so content. Yes, content is my number one most asked question. And it is, I understand what it's like because in the beginning, you've never really done it. So you have this idea of what content should look like. And you think it should be a book. It should be a case study. It should be a epic video because that's what we're used to watching. And so we have to almost unlearn those things. And the way that I kind of break it down is if it doesn't fall within one of these 5 categories, I call it my 5 E's, then don't probably do it. And the 5 E's are educational, entertaining. By the way, entertaining is going to be the biggest bang for your buck, but the hardest one to achieve. But if you can with people and make them laugh and connect with you, that's the money right there. So educational, entertaining, exclusive. Now, let's take our step back here because people think exclusive and they think, oh, it's like a grand opening, it's behind the scenes, it's a pocket listing, all of those things, but it's also your life behind the scenes because everybody else doesn't get to go home with you at night. Everybody else doesn't get to go on a vacation with you. And I will talk about the difference between personal and private, 2 totally different things. But I want to just let you know, exclusive doesn't have to be like, you know, Elon Musk is like unveiling the exclusive new model, right? It can be you and your life and behind the scenes. So like think of exclusive as that way too. Then it has to be engaging, meaning simply asking questions, going on, asking people questions on stories, doing engagement stickers, polls, you know, do you like this or that? Or give me your opinion, because we all know everyone has an opinion and they will share it with you. Most of the time without you asking. But if you ask, they definitely will, okay? So, and then the last D is emotional. And I want to also just drive home. I don't mean get on there and you have to start crying and tell your whole life story. Emotional can be something like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I just signed up for a 5K. And you can talk about what you're doing and you're training for it. And that absolutely is emotional. I had a friend of mine that did this, was training for a marathon, and I watched him train. You know, I didn't watch every story every single day, but I knew he was training for a marathon. And I will tell you, when I saw him cross that finish line in his story, I'm actually getting chills just thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm with you on this journey. So again, the 5 E's, just so everybody who's listening: educational, entertaining, emotional, exclusive, and engaging. So those are the 5 E's. That'll keep you on the pretty much straight and narrow to kind of say, is this really going to work? Now, I want to talk about private versus personal, because the second question or comment I always get is, okay, well, I'm a really private person and I don't really like watching people and what they had for lunch. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to do that. But just remember, let's say, I mean, I'm not saying you should just do like food photos or whatever, but let's just say I'm making dinner and I happen to do a story about it. And I happen to be gluten-free, and I have been for years, and so I might talk about that. You have no idea that 3 people might reach out to you and say, oh my gosh, I just decided to do this, or my doctor just told me, or I've had massive issues and I have to switch my diet. Can you share with me? You can talk, you will connect with some of those people just based on that. So don't discount what's happening, because there's magic in the mundane. Let me repeat that again. There is magic in the mundane. I spent 3 years every day making educational content, and it got good engagement. When I started talking about my personal stuff, like my family, relatable things, it skyrocketed. Now, I actually have a slide that I do in a lot of my presentations. The most boring content that got me the most engagement, I was at Costco, and I was going to prove a point. Went on my story and said, I'm going to teach you guys that you can make content about nothing. And what was the TV show where it was like the show about nothing or something like that? Yes, it was exactly like that. So I went in there and I picked up a box, and you know what? I do have one. Look at this. I picked this up, a giant box of these, and I'm like, guys, I want to know, are you team cube or team rectangle? Come on, be honest. What kind do you buy out here? I tell you, 350 people had to tell me they were doing. Some people had circular ones. I don't know. And then they told me why. Well, I like the rectangle because it fits inside my car. I was like, I'm proving a point to you that You can have magic in the mundane, but you need to ask people questions. You can't just like take a picture of what you're buying. Ask people, because you will be very surprised at what they will hold on to. So now the personal versus private. Personal is the human. It's the relatable. It means that when I go out to a date night with my hubby, you don't sit and hear our conversation in the dining room that we're at, but you might see the picture of the name of the restaurant or my view from where I'm sitting. That's personal. And then people might say, oh my God, we love that restaurant. Oh, really? What did you get on the menu? Oh, that's awesome. That's what I got. You're starting a conversation. Most of my demographic are real estate moms, working moms who are in real estate, because guess what? I'm a working mom in real estate, and my stories have my kid in it, and my life and things of that nature. And so that's very relatable to those people. Private is totally separate. So you choose what you want to talk about, but there are many ways that you can become personal without being private. So the easiest way to start doing stories is to literally write down what you do during the day. And the hardest part when you're starting stories is remembering to get out your phone. Like truly, you're gonna be like, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock at night and I haven't even done anything. And I used to set alarms and I used to have Post-its. And after I did it for a while, it became second nature and it felt like an extension of my arm practically. And so the hardest part is getting started as pick up your phone, story. And then what you want to do is just look what you're doing through the day. Morning coffee, what book do you read? What articles are you reading? Where are you going? You have to show who you're meeting with. But the beautiful part about telling as a story is that when you take people throughout your day, they know you're a realtor. They're going to see what you're doing. And
tomorrow is day one of Nick documenting his day.
Okay, back in the day, I don't know how long you guys have been in the industry, but back in the day before we had social media, I had many a client that would say, oh my God, I didn't even realize you were still in real estate. Oh, you didn't get my mailer? You didn't get my
wow.
Right? And that happened to me over and over again. Well, guess what? Nobody forgets what I do now, because they see me documenting it all day long. And I never even have to remind people, hey, social media real estate, that's me, right?
This is making a story right now.
Good.
On LCA. So I posted up a question. What's your challenge with Instagram stories, posts, or content? You can answer it on Facebook Live there. It'll pop up at the bottom. So far, content is winning, but we'll give it another couple minutes.
I just have a comment. What's your comment? So you were talking about before, like emotional, right? Like I think transparency is super big. Like I'm big on, like on social media, you know, you see a lot of people talking about how awesome things are going for them. There's nothing bad in their lives, right? I'm big on transparency. Like I don't post things about, oh, you know, I don't get woe is me, but I just like to be real, right? People really relate to that. Like if I had a tough day or I'm stuck in a negative mindset, you know, like I like to talk about it because I think there's not enough of that. So the emotional part doesn't have to be like a sad thing, but I think it could also be like a real thing.
Yes, real is really important. And let me tell you, it takes a while to get comfortable enough to get there. You hear transparent, authentic, and then you're like, got it. Okay, I know I need to do those things, but I just don't feel it yet. It will take a while to get there, but you will. And here's what happens when you have those moments. That's a perfect moment to invite your audience in with you and say, you know, what do you do when you got that day? Like that's what I did the other day. I had like a, you know, down day where I was like, man, I just can't come up with any content and blah, blah, blah. And like, do you guys ever go through this? What do you do? And people were like, you know, I go for a walk or whatever, you know, invite people in with you and ask them, you know, what they do when they're in those situations. And that's a really good way to, not that you want to leverage emotional content just to get engagement, but it is a good way to connect with people in your world.
All right, so let's get some tons of hearts going on our Facebook Live. We've got over 100 people watching on Facebook. Let's get lots of hearts. If
Give
you
us
want
some hearts and like smiley faces for Chelsea.
Her Instagram page so that we can see how she works her Instagram. So lots of hearts. Give them to us. Give them to us. Come on. Right, Chelsea, you're going to show us what your Instagram looks like.
Okay, so I'm going to go.
Chelsea, I just made a story, by the way. I just made a story.
Yay! Don't forget to tag us in the stories.
I tagged you, so we're good. Oh, we're getting a ton of hearts, Chelsea. So I think it's time to show us your Insta.
Okay, so hopefully everybody's going to be able to see this. You guys can see my screen here. It's thinking, so give it just 1 second. Can you guys all see?
Who's the cutie?
Is that your son?
That's my son. Yes, my love bug. If you guys watch my stories, you'll see him in there a lot. So yeah, he's 6 years old.
Hey, Chelsea, I have a question. How do you tag somebody in a story?
Okay, so when you're looking at your story right now that you just made, if you look up at the top right, there's like a little square. Look, it's almost like a smiley with a turned up corner. So tap that, and then you're going to, there should be
mention.
Mention. There you go. And so you need to do it twice. So you'll mention Tristan, and then you can mention me. So.
Yep, I got it.
All right. So here we go. We're going to go into Instagram. Okay. So the thing that I'm asked most often is about hashtags. And so I just want to dive right in there because hashtags are really important. In fact, I'm going to actually go to the search page and I'm going to show you how, even the big accounts, the influencers, the famous people, all do their hashtag research, okay? So if you're looking at my phone, at the bottom you see there's a row of icons. There's a house icon, a little like magnifying glass. I'm tapping the magnifying glass because that's where you're gonna do your search for everything, okay? So I'm gonna come in here and I don't spend a lot of time in the explore section because it's kind of like a black hole of like, I'll get stuck and watch 25,000 videos. And so I try to stay away from it because it's like Pinterest for me where I could just get stuck down here. But up at the top, there's a search button. And I'm gonna see where it says top people, tags, places across the top. We wanna go for tags. So you're tapping over to tags and you can see here that I've already, given a few classes on this. I actually talked about Instagram like 5 times today. So this is where you're going to do your hashtag research. Now, one of the main things that I see people doing wrong, not wrong, but it's just not serving them, is they go for the really big hashtags. So for example, look at this first one here, real estate, hashtag real estate, 23 million.
That's like huge.
Okay. So for those of us, none of us are probably website experts, but everybody watching will get this. Imagine going to a web person or a developer or a Google Ads expert and saying, okay, so I really want to rank #1 for the term real estate for like $1. Do you think I could do that? And they'd be like, are you crazy? Like, it ain't ever going to happen. That's so what's happening here. So if you go for the really big guys, right, and we think, okay, well, yeah, we should put that in there. Real estate is what we do. You'll never get found for it. And it's really just a waste of a hashtag. You can do up to 30 hashtags in one of your main feed posts. Now, a lot of people say 30. Holy cow, that's a lot. It is. But let me tell it to you like this. If I told everybody, hey guys, we got a $20 billion lottery today, and one of the tickets that I have is winning, and would you like 5 or would you like 30? And it's all the same price, it's 0 cost. Do you want 5 chances or 30? They're all 30. So that's why you have to have the mindset of, I'm going to try as much as I can to get out there and get seen. Hashtags are how you grow. They're how you find people. And for those of you who aren't sure what a hashtag is, and just so you know, I am of a certain age. I won't tell you how old I am, but it starts with 4.
29. Looks great, 29.
4. But here's the deal. If you're not exactly sure how
Chelsea, I just turned 40, so I'm not a millennial anymore. Is a hashtag, you mean a pound sign?
A pound sign, the number sign, yes. And for those of you who are, yes, exactly. And for those of you who
I don't talk millennial anymore, so I wasn't sure.
For those of you who aren't exactly sure how it works, or if you're trying to explain it to somebody in your office or your team who doesn't know how it works because they're, our age or older, here's a great explanation and analogy that I like to use. Remember back in the day, we go to the library, you go to the card catalog, you pull the long thing out, you're looking through, you pull the number out, you're gonna walk over and find the right book. That's a hashtag. That little card catalog guy is the hashtag. It's a way to help find other people, things, themes, and ideas, keywords that are all within the same thing. So the biggest challenge is using big ones. Here's the strategy you want to use. You want to go for the lower millions. So for example, let's see here. Let me just put in real estate so I can trigger this again. Search. Okay. So here we go. I don't want real estate, but look, like 5 down, hashtag real estate life. I like that one. That's 1.4. Okay, that's good. So you want low millions, like 4 or 5 in there, okay? Then we're gonna layer some more, like 4 or 5 that are in the 6 figures, okay? So then you want 5 figures. Like this one up here, Real Estate Mom, is one I use all the time because it's 17,000. I could probably rank for that if I'm using it pretty often. And guess what? I'm actually looking for other real estate moms because that's, my jam. Those are my peeps. So you have to go millions, 6 figures, 5 figures, and then you can even create your own branded hashtag. Now, I don't want people to get confused. There's nowhere that you go to like actually make it. It's just a word that is like your word. Like for me, it's Chels Chat that nobody else is saying.
Chat?
Chels Chat. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to use that. Chels Chat. I love that. Hashtag.
Well, that's good if people click on it, they see all your specific
all
posts.
my stuff. That's right. Mm-hmm.
So then I'm going to do like hashtag Chels Chat and then hashtag lab coding. That's what I'll do.
Yes, I love it. So you can use some small ones, but that's really what your goal is. And try for 20. I know it's hard, but
I'm going to do hashtag knickknack.
There you go. You never know what you might find, what you might attract with that one. So you need to do some research. And you guys, there's no app, there's no magic, website. This is where the people go. They spend 1, 2, 3 hours on the weekend writing stuff down, putting it in a spreadsheet and testing. Okay. So get yourself 100 hashtags to try, and you may not all be in real estate, and that's okay. You can use the same hashtags on every caption. By the way, Instagram stories, you have a limit of 3 hashtags. Yes, you can type in more. It's not going to register any more but 3. So don't waste your time in the system and put them in there because it's just not going to work. Okay, so let's say I've got my hashtags there. The next challenge that I see people facing in our industry is picking the wrong hashtags. We need to think about what is the consumer, what is the buyer and the seller looking for? If I'm a buyer, which I am, I've actually been looking for a house, what am I doing on Instagram? I'm not going for hashtag realtor. I'm not putting in hashtag real estate. What I'm looking for is local area information. I'm in Phoenix, Scottsdale. I might be looking for hashtag Scottsdale lifestyle, hashtag Scottsdale house, hashtag design inspo, farmhouse decor. That's what I'm into. Golf views. So we need to think about what are you putting in that's attracting, because if you're putting in realtor, you're probably attracting other realtors. For me, I no longer use social media related hashtags, because what I was finding is I get a ton of people selling social media products, and I do not want that. I want people who are in my industry, lending, mortgage, real estate, those are my people. So that's really important. So not using the big ones, layering the strategy, using about 20, you can always use more, and thinking about what's really there. Now, the best way to do it is just to look at other people's posts too. So if I tap in here, real estate life, let's just go to one here. Okay.
Chelsea, real quick, can you just review the layering tactic again? Because that's super interesting. And I just want to make sure that I got it too.
Yeah. So let's say just for easy math, we're doing 20. So maybe do 5 that are in the low millions. Maybe that's hashtag real estate.
Okay.
And then you're doing 5 that are in the 6 figures, 5 that are in the 50,000 or 5 figures type of thing. And then you could do some smaller ones if you want.
Yeah.
Or remember too that depending on the picture you're posting, you're going to pick a few hashtags that have to do with that picture. So for example, if I'm doing a picture of my new puppy I got for Christmas or something, I'm probably not just going to put real estate related hashtags. I'll throw in a few having to do with dogs and puppies and all that sort of thing. Okay. So I'm just randomly picking this post. I have no idea who this person is, but I'm going to look at her hashtags. So that's where a lot of people go. And guess what? There's no really original hashtags, right? So go look at other people's stuff, look at their hashtags. So right here, you can see that she's got all these hashtags. And what I really like is she has things like Durham region, Clarington, Whitby. These are local places that she wants to be found for. So she's not just using real estate agent or terms like that. She's using local terms that buyers and sellers would be searching for. I also like that she has open house, house hunting, home sweet home, things like that. I really love that she's.
What's the difference with putting the hashtag in a comment versus in the post?
Nothing. It's personal preference. I'm lazy. I don't really want to comment on
it.
It
works the same regardless.
Yeah, and there's a ton of blogs that are if you don't put it in the comments, it's not going to trigger the algorithm. That's not true. Personal preference, whatever you want.
Okay, that's true. It's not true. I agree with Chelsea. I think the only difference is some people think it's a little sexier to keep it out of the post. versus, you know, eat the
Yeah.
post. That's it.
Totally up to
Preference.
I got it. It just looks cleaner.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
But
again,
it won't affect. Gotcha.
yeah, it won't affect anything. Again, if you're looking at her hashtags on my screen right now, they're all blue, they're hyperlinks. So what I could do, again, is more research. So I could come in here and I could say, open house, okay? I could follow that hashtag if I want to. What happens when I follow it is it will insert randomly posts that have open house on it so that it will go into my feed so I could potentially discover new people. So here, of course, I can, you know, tap in to these. And look, if I want to find this person, I can tap on her, I can tap on her, there we go, and I can decide if I want to follow her. So I can find new people. I could find new people I can contact and connect with. So you could see how you could go down a whole wormhole of just tapping on, you know, hashtags and all of that. But that's really the main hashtag strategy right there. Now, I'd love to jump into profiles because that's another thing that, you know, a lot of people don't know the ins and outs of for the profile.
How did you make that so clean?
So, okay, so this part here, this section right there. Yeah. So
that and the section above too.
Yeah. So I test this out all the time. I change it around. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is I'm just going to scroll this up real quick. So the Chelsea.Peitz hits that first social media for real estate. Do you guys see that? My name and then the first sentence. So this is a little confusing, especially when you go into the settings, because the way they have named the sections in your editing section. The very first top part, the Chelsea.Peitz, that is my username. That is my username. That is my account name for Instagram. That's how Instagram knows me. I recommend strongly that you have your name or your brand name in there for sure, because again, you want to try to make it cohesive across all the socials, but you need to have your name in there somewhere. And what happens is the line below it right there, social media for real estate, that's the actual name section. So when you're in settings, which I'll show you in a minute, that's called name. So people think, oh, name, I should put my name in there. And then what I see is they have Chelsea Peitz and Chelsea Peitz. Well, here's what happens. Those two sections are the only searchable sections in your profile, period. So if I want to get found for social media, guess what? I'm not showing up unless I have that somewhere in one of those two sections. If I want to show up for real estate, not showing up unless I have them in one of those two sections. So if I'm got Chelsea Peitz and Chelsea Peitz, I've missed out on a chance. And if I've got Blue-Eyed Girl 22, well, guess what? They're not going to know who you are, and they're not going to be able to find you. So you have to put your name in there somewhere, or your brand name if you've got a team or whatever. So now what happens is, watch, I go to search. I'm going to go to search here. I'm going to do people. Okay. All right, so here's all the Chelsea P's, right? But see, if you look, if I pull this up here, right here, Chelsea.Peitz, and I've got a little emoji, so it draws your attention, but it says social media for real estate. So now you know what I do, and every time I show up, when I'm in like a notification, you're gonna see what I do. It's branding. And it's really a smart way to take advantage of letting people know what you do, and also use some keywords to get found for it, and then also have your name, okay? So like the girl below me, she's Chelsea. So she's in health, slaying muffin tops. Love that. That's cute. Would I search for that? Nope, probably not. Wouldn't find her that way. So she has to have her name in there. And then she also has health coach, which, okay, cool. Get it. I get where you're going with your name now, right? But it's important that you don't miss out on the opportunity to leverage those because it's the only two searchable areas, okay? So everybody go in and check your profiles tonight and check your name, not your username, because I'm actually going to go into edit profile and see this here. The name section where it says name, that's where I have my keywords and my little emoji thing. My username is right below it.
Okay, so wait a minute. So your name should be okay. Your name in the profile. Your name should not be your name.
Right, unless you can have your name in there with like a slash or like realtor or something else. Like let's say your team name is the awesome real estate team or something, and maybe that's your username.
Yeah.
And that would make sense to have your name in the name section, maybe, slash like whatever area you serve or realtor. You need to have your name in one of them, but you shouldn't have them necessarily in both.
Both, gotcha. Okay.
You waste the chance of using another keyword, if you know.
Because then people don't. You need to tell someone what you're doing and who you are in one of those areas.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Remember, it
So
shows
if someone's tagging you, Chelsea Peitz, Chelsea.Peitz are tagging you as your name,
right.
they go to your profile, they see, oh, social media for real estate. So you
Right.
want them to understand what you do in some aspect.
Right. And it's not just about your profile, because remember, it's like a Facebook business page. Nobody's going to your profile ever again. They're only going to go the first time they run into you. And then once they follow you, they don't usually go back to your profile. It's usually just, skimming through the feed. So that's really just the first impression. But remember, when I'm in the notifications and I'm talking to people and I'm giving them likes and comments, in that notification section, I show up Chelsea Peitz, social media, Chelsea Peitz, social media. So again, I'm printing. So you can change that up as much as you want. I do it fairly often, just to change things and see what's going on. So those are important. Now, when we're talking about the website link, you get one link, and that's the only place you get a link. So if you ever try to put a link inside one of your captions in your Instagram posts, you're like, oh, this isn't clickable. What happened? That's why you see everybody saying link in bio. Here's the deal. Link in bio. You get one. I'm using something called Linktree. Probably a lot of you know about that. I'm doing the paid version, which is $6 a month, and mine is looking like this. Let me cancel this out so you can see it. Tap it. Mine's custom, and when I speak, I say, just go to the link in my bio. You can grab my download, and there's a free little download jiggly guy. So it's grabbing the eye. People tap on it.
I love that.
And here it is. Right now, if I'm smart, I have a Facebook pixel installed on wherever I've got that hosted, right? So now I can serve ads and create my own audiences, because we all know what happened recently as of yesterday when they're changing things in Facebook ads again. So I'm creating my own audiences, okay? So let me just show that to you again. So here with Linktree, if you get the free version, you can get up to 5 links. You don't get the pretty background and custom. There's a few other bells and whistles. The $6 one is worth it for sure. But now I can take them to all these different other places. They can email me. They can go look at my YouTube. So you get maximum out of that one link. Okay? So that's my Linktree. And then if you look here again, right above it, I have a call to action. Every single bio must have a call to action, because you never know. You could get a lead that way. Somebody could connect with you that way. You can build your audiences that way.
So you could be like, search for the latest homes, or find homes off market, click here.
Find off market homes, search for homes, market update, ebook guides, webinar, whatever you have that you can make. I mean, there are so many different lead magnets. And I'm sure there's so many ideas that you already have in your group.
Chelsea, can you dictate the website that you told us, the Linktree?
Linktree, yes, let me show you. Linktree. See where it says on website? It's Linktree. It's like a weird little tr.ee, but if you Google Linktree, it'll pop up.
Just have to post it up to the message here on the webinar portion of it.
Okay. Yes, I will do that.
Awesome.
So yeah, Linktree's awesome. And all right, so the next thing is a lot of people ask about like the bio section, right? I'm gonna just type in a Linktree here. Okay. A lot of people ask me, okay, what do I put in my bio? Here's the thing, have fun with it, make it you, because it's not searchable. So this is really about you having maybe like a personality, right? So you can see mine's pretty simple. I've had it kind of jacked up with emojis and all of that, but I think bullets and structure the brain likes. So I think that's a tip, to kind of put that in there and talk about what it is about you. Like, let me go to a few others here so you can see how some other people use theirs. This is my friend Jen, who is an amazing Instagram person. You guys should all follow her. She likes to do more fun type of emoji here. So the nice thing is about emojis too is that it saves you in characters, because if you're trying to communicate something and you can use an emoji instead of like the word, you only have like, I think 140 characters or something ridiculously small like that. So this is really up to your personal preference. Go around and look at other people's stuff and see what you like, and you can easily just click edit profile and make that. And those little gray squares are just emojis like towards the end by the flags that like nobody ever uses. So. Got it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, probably something that you guys already know, but want to have a profile picture of you and your face, not your logo. I know it's harder with teams and brands. We have to kind of use that branding, but if it's just you, try to do as many, faces as possible. Yes, Tristan.
So question here, where it says a podcast fan social 2021 speaker, right underneath that it says email. Yeah. Is there a reason you chose email versus something else?
Yes. Okay. So what that section is there, that is what you get when you change your personal account to a business profile. And I do think that everybody who is in real estate should have a business profile because you get a whole bunch of analytics and you also get an additional call to action like email, call. And guess what? People aren't going to go from your profile to your website because I'm lazy. I don't want to look for your phone number or your email on your website. I just don't. So if you have it here, I'm like, great. I'll probably just DM you anyway, but I would love to have this right. So don't miss out on the opportunity to have one more way for people to connect with you. So that's, I think you can do like directions, email and
text, call. Yeah. Yeah. I have that. So for Chelsea, what do you recommend for people listening in? Should they have both a personal or a business or just a business or just a personal? What's your recommendation?
I do get that question a lot. For me, I'm a big believer in the personal side, the relatable side, because, you know, our brands are not houses. Our brands are people, and we want to connect with the person as a human being before we do any business with them. And so I think it's really, really powerful to be more human and relatable, still professional, absolutely. But I'm all for personal. And you know who believes that too? Facebook. That's why our business pages kind of aren't so awesome and they have to work really hard, like mine that I've like spent 7 years trying to build. And guess what? It's a different experience on your personal profile. So while this is a business Instagram account, I still make it more personal type of business. So just so people know too, it's very easy to go back and forth between personal and business account. It's a toggle switch. And don't have a fear that like when you started your business page, you had to go ask, you know, find people and ask them to like it. Not at all like that. There's no algorithmic ding. Your content's not going to go down like it might if it's a business page in Facebook. It's just totally different. So don't be afraid of the business profile in Instagram. So
on the personal one, are you still allowed to boost just for people that are listening? Are you still allowed to push your content out, pay for it, or no?
No, you have to have a business account for all of that. And you have to have a Facebook business page first to have a Instagram business account. And when you connect them, when you go to turn it on to a business, it will say, which Facebook page would you like to connect this to? So it knows that it connects. In fact, see this section right here under social media for real estate, that gray real estate title and development? That is from my Facebook business page. It sucks it out from there and I cannot change it. So it's connected and it's pulling information from my business page as well.
I love it.
All right. Well, should we talk about Instagram TV a little bit?
Yeah, let's do Instagram. Let's do IGTV. Show us what you've got.
So IGTV was kind of a flop when it came out, and mainly because it was like kind of a separate app and people didn't really know what it was all about. All you have to know is that there's only two competitors for Facebook, and I'm using Facebook and Instagram as one entity here. The two competitors are YouTube and the iPhone. And the iPhone, specifically the iMessage, the messaging component of our iPhones. So they are really good at setting their sights on somebody and taking them down. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they are able to eclipse YouTube. Now we think, oh, come on, YouTube, it's huge. But how many other things did we say that about? So they're really going hard after YouTube. And so what happens is, if you look at my feed here, do you see like this first one here? Where I have like the three fingers. See how this little icon, there's like a TV with like a squiggly thing?
Yeah.
So that's an Instagram TV video that is also allowing me to preview, like you mentioned, a minute of that into the actual feed, and it goes to my grid here too. So what happens is if I go up to my home here, and if I look up at the very top, there's the same symbol up here in the top right next to the little 16 icon. So if I tap that, it's going to open up, you know, all of this. It's going to open up all, sorry, I closed it out. My bad. So there's Gary, you know, we're always watching Gary Vee, all of that. So these are all the videos that I could watch. Now they're all vertical and it's up to 10 minutes long. And so they're shorter videos, but you know, people are in here and you can actually tap and you can comment. I can look here and share it. So it's not quite catching on like wildfire yet. So what they decided to do was allow people to preview a minute of it in the feed. So let me get out of here so I can go back to here, okay? So this one right here, see how it just like, I just did a cover photo. So I added a little cover photo and now it kind of goes into it. And like you saw there, if I'll go back, look at the call to action it gives you at the bottom. Watch full IGTV video. So you have up to a minute and then it cuts off and then people have to tap on it and actually go watch it. So they're trying to get people from the feed into IGTV and they're trying to get IGTV into the feed. Well, guess what? Those videos that you do a preview on, triple, quadruple the views because they're sticking them in the feed, right? And every time you use a new feature, they kind of give you a little bit more love. So if you want to get seen more and get some more video views, definitely use the preview feature. I notice it's a little funky. There's a whole video in my IGTV about how to do the preview because you have to do it in a little kind of a bit of a weird way. I actually have to go to IGTV here, up here, and not the actual app. There is a separate app. And then I tap here. These are all of mine. And if I want to add something, I'm just going to tap that little plus sign. And when I'm adding it, there's going to be a preview button, and I have to click that. So I can't go back and add a preview of all these ones I've done before. You have to actually do it when you're posting the original post. You can still do hashtags, all of that. They have truncated a little bit of the character size, so you don't get as many characters as you do in the main feed for that. So yeah, I definitely say, try it out. I do, 5-minute videos and I post them there, but they're vertical. So don't use horizontal, don't repurpose them. That's kind of the one thing, because a lot of people get annoyed and they won't turn it to watch it.
Nice.
All right. What other questions I wrote down some more stuff here. So let me just see if I
loved it. I'm going to have to go rewatch some of that stuff because
So
hashtags. I've been doing it all wrong, Tristan.
Let me give you one more little tip here too. Okay, so if I'm looking at my main feed here, so this is a beautiful picture of a beach here. If you look right under the underneath the picture there's a couple of icons. There's a heart, there's the conversation or the comment bubble, there's a little paper airplane. And the little paper airplane, you want to maybe start using that a little bit more because it's a great way to give somebody a little shout out. It's a great way to introduce your community to somebody else. And that's how we grew in Snapchat back in the day. We'd give shout outs because there was no way to find anyone. And so what would happen is if a trusted friend of mine or a contact would post somebody or shout them out, I would go and I would connect with them. So here's what we can do. If their account is public, if I tap this, see where it says add post to story? If I tap that, I can share their post to my story. Now, you may or may not know this about Instagram, but you can't share from feed to feed like you can in Facebook. Like I could share Nick's post to my feed in Facebook. It doesn't work that way in Instagram. However, I can share someone's post to my story. And the cool part is, if you look right here under that, you see how it says @Preston. So if Nick or Tristan are looking through my story and they see this, they can tap on it and go right to Preston's profile. So it is a nice way to, connect with people, shout them out. They get a notification so that they know that you shouted them out. And it's just, a good way to kind of grow the community. And then you can, still jazz it up, use stickers, all of that. So since we're in here, let's talk about some of the stickers that are in here as well. So when we're making our story, if you look up at the top row there, that little square smiley face sticker is where you want to spend some time because getting found with Instagram stories depends on you tagging your location and you using a hashtag, okay? So if I go in here and tap that, a couple things I can do. I can see the location there and I can see hashtag as well. But you guys, there's also a lot of what I call engagement stickers. And these engagement stickers like a poll are really cool. If I tap the poll, I can just ask a question. And it's a good way to just get people involved. Like that way they don't have to type anything in. They can go boop, and you can actually see what they've said. So again, it's just a way to kind of train them to get engagement. So don't be afraid to use those. But this location thing is really important because Instagram runs on locations and hashtags. And that's how it's pulling all of these stories and all these posts and putting them in the search areas so that you can find them. So if I were you, I would make sure that I'm tagging the areas that I'm working in or want to be working in. So if I'm like, I don't know if people know Arizona, but Phoenix and Scottsdale can be really far apart. And there's also Gilbert, which is way down the way there. Maybe I want to work in Gilbert, but I'm living in Phoenix. Then I should start tagging some stuff in Gilbert because then I'm going to show up in those areas, okay?
So with that, are we allowed to put those let's say hashtags in the Instagram profiles? Do you recommend that or no? Like your specific hashtag?
Your specific hashtag only in the profile, because then it's going to go to more of your content or more content that has to do with you that other people have used your hashtag in. Otherwise, they're going to get distracted and they're going to be like, oh, wow, look at all these shiny objects. And I'm going to tap here and go here. And they're on somebody else's content. So I don't recommend using like real estate or realtor in the actual bio because it will take them off of yours. So
got it. So with that you said, the poll or just asking questions, we usually would say, like with that one, I would say, do you like this kitchen? Yes or no? Or do you like this color? Yes or no? Right? Have you, like I just did this when I did Instagram story. And I said, have you ever driven from Texas to New Mexico? And people are like, yes, no, yes, no. It's just a way to engage people, right?
Right. So you can see, you can just type in anything. You can change the colors, you can move it around. And the cool thing is then you can crowdsource the answers in the content. You can actually, people when they answer, you can then post that answer there and, have people involved and feel like, oh yeah, there's my answer, so we kind of feel like we're involved together. So those are some things that definitely, you should be doing in your Instagram story. And just as well too, just since we were talking about IGTV, a good practice is once you post your IGTV, I always link it in my story, and I don't have the swipe up feature. You have to have like 10,000 followers to get the swipe up, but it does allow you to link your IGTV. So if you look at the top part there, you see the little like two chains, like the chain link. If I click that, if you did have the swipe up, there would be an extra little thing there that you could tap, but I can click IGTV video, and now I can select any of my videos and it will give them a call to action and they can swipe up. So
I love that.
Yeah. Oh my God. So much good stuff. I can talk about this forever.
Yeah. So anyway, I know we're coming up on our hour. So I just wanted to make sure I don't know if there's any other questions you guys want to cover.
I'm trying to see, cause we've got over 100. We had a lot of people watching live. So let me,
Chelsea, this has been one of our most watched while it's live videos we've ever had.
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
We had about 150 people watching at one time live, which is huge.
Awesome.
all right, here's a question from Anik. Does the person get a notification that you shared their post in your story?
Yes, they do. And it will send them a little message and it will say, Chelsea has mentioned you. So you'll see like a mention. Yeah, you'll be able to see that. So it's nice.
Question.
Heads up.
I have a question.
Catherine is saying, go ahead. All right.
Just kidding.
Thanks, Nick. Catherine Rush is saying, is there a lead capture function in Linktree? If someone clicks on your link, will it let you know?
You know what? I think in the paid version, there is something like that. I haven't actually used that part of it, but I know the paid version had something to do with pixel tracking and a few other things. And I believe you can have custom links and it might even be trackable as well. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
All right. And we had a few questions asking if we could change our handle or our profile name. And yes, you can. Super easy. I've changed it a few times from the best real estate agent in the whole universe to Tristan.
Yeah.
But some good questions. Anything you want to add that we may have missed, Chelsea? Because I think we could probably go on for another solid hour with the content that you're giving.
Yeah, I'm just looking to make sure. I think
Chelsea,
we covered a lot. Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. When I watched you speak about Instagram on stage, because obviously this is different, you mentioned some great apps. So I want to redo this, but showing the apps that you should use. Can you mention like the top 3 apps that we should be using as agents for Instagram?
Yes. So one of the apps that I really like is I love using Adobe Spark Post. That's a really cool app. It's free. I think you can pay a little extra to get the watermark off. Height Type and I'll type that in here so you guys can see that. And that just makes like animation text. So if you want to have like, you know, a picture and then like text sort of animate. I love that one. If you're really into planning things out and you want to kind of like schedule it and you want to see how it's going to look in your feed and you're into all of that, I like to use Planoly, and that's a funny spelled one. So Planoly. I'll put that in there. And another good one is Plan. That's more of a planning. It also will do a little bit of hashtag research. But those two are nice because you can also save all your hashtag lists, so you can just copy and paste. So you can like load up your pictures. You can decide when you want to schedule them out. Then you can just copy and paste your hashtags right in there. So another one that's good for videos, if you want to do like a video, actually post video, is Apple Clips. Sorry, Droid, it's not for you, but Apple Clips will actually give you the subtitles along the bottom. And that's a really cool one. And then another one that a lot of people don't know about that my good friend, Mr. Jerry Potter, taught me is Swipeable. So what that is, it was made for panoramic photos. And if you use it, what it will do is it will jiggle the sides so that it catches the eye. So the post, it'll like, if you have like a, almost like a swipeable carousel photo. Again, we're all so lazy. We don't want to go like this. We just want to look at one photo. It gives it like a little like jiggle and it almost like a movement that you know that you have to swipe it. So check that out and try it for your Instagram photos.
I love it. All right. Any questions on the webinar side? Any questions? Any more questions on the Facebook side? Maybe we should start doing an Instagram live here at the same time, so we have 3 ways of doing this. Have you tried a few Instagram lives, Chelsea?
You know, I have, and I will tell you, you know, they don't stick around like the Facebook lives do, but I do find that I get more people showing up live because it pushes all the lives to the very front of the lineup, and so people will generally jump in more so.
Nice. All right. Well, Nick, anything you want to add? This is a lot, Chelsea.
Listen, I'm making a challenge. No, here's my challenge for myself, okay? My challenge is every day I'm gonna make it a point to create a story, document some like I don't know how many, right? Like how many, like 5, 6 things that are happening in my day. I'm gonna try my hardest to create something every day that's a story that's going on. I'm gonna just give myself a challenge. I'm gonna try it every day for a week and then continue on from there. Because it's gonna force myself to think about content and realize that that's one of the ways to get engagement. I just have to do it.
I'm just going to set an alarm to remind you just to post.
No, I won't forget. It's just about doing it, right? And it might be boring at first, but baby steps.
Yes, I love it. I'll be looking out for it.
All right. I love it. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Chelsea, thank you so much. Everybody, follow Chelsea on Instagram. Chelsea, what is your handle?
I'm going to drop it here. It's my name, and I have a funny last name. So it's Chelsea.Peitz. So that's P-E-I-T-Z, like Old MacDonald, E-I-E-I-O. So a lot of people try to do I-E, but it's E-I. So at Chelsea.Peitz.
Okay, I'm posting it up on Facebook too, so that they know that the E is before the I. I'm just saying, right? All right, perfect. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Have a great night, Chelsea, Nick. Tomorrow, Tristan and Nick at night at
8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock.
Oh, sorry. That's all right. Don't even worry about it.
You do it. You do it.
What we're gonna do?
I was talking at the same time, saying when Tristan and Nick at night, brought to you by LaCroix. Not really brought to you by LaCroix. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.